Oh boy, I think I've told you folks how at one time I was a boiler maker up in Pennsylvania, north central Pennsylvania. Worked out of Williamsport, which was actually a pretty big boiler making town. Yeah, there was a few good boiler making companies there, and while I worked for one, a smaller company that installed boilers and repaired them and did, if a boiler was broken somehow, we went out and fixed it because you've sort of got to make house calls when it comes to a boiler. no one's no one's going to say, well, bring it to our shop and we'll fix it. Yeah, no, it don't work that way. And so I had actually what I thought was a rather nice job traveling the state of Pennsylvania in a big old pickup truck full of all sorts of really weird tools and going into a boiler room and spending a week or two, sometimes 3 or 4 weeks, getting the boiler all back in shape. Well, the boilers was like some of them were as big as houses, bigger, bigger than houses. And we were the crew I worked with and myself. We worked on them and did a darn good job too. But one day, I think it was a Friday, we were coming back from a week of working in let's just say Renovo, Pennsylvania. And we come back to the shop, and the boss greets us. He hands us our checks, and he says, "Man, listen." He says, "That job you just did, that was the last one we've got for the moment." And we're looking at each other. He says, "What I'm going to have to do," he says, "there's no sense you coming down here every day. I'm going to put you all on unemployment. Here's all your papers for that. Here's South, here's yours. Jackson, here's yours. Mikey, here's yours. Okay. And you guys go down. It's a little late now, but Monday morning you can go to unemployment. They'll get you squared away. You'll probably have to wait a week or so to get paid, but you got one more check coming from me, and then the unemployment will kick in, and you'll get paid for that. You'll get paid. You'll get paid by them. When we can finally get back to work, you're all hired. You're great workers. Don't want to lose you, but it's pointless for you to be down here. Okay, boy, I was kind of shaken. Because I was so used to working at the rolling tubes in a boiler, laying the concrete, for their foundation, or not concrete, but the hydrocon. That's sort of like cement, but it can take real high temperatures. I was God. I'm covered in soot. What am I going to do? I think my boss, well, you should go home and take a bath. And he says, enjoy your wife, enjoy your kids. Go. You've got some money. You can do a few things. You don't have to, sit curled up in the fetal position, in your uh, in your bathtub or something. Just enjoy. You'll everything will be okay. I said, well, all right. And boy, I remember telling Molly, that was my wife, then Molly, said, I'm laid off. She says, okay. She says, you got unemployment coming, right? I said, yeah. And here's my check for this week. And gosh, he said it might be 5 or 6 weeks. She says, okay, 5 or 6 weeks. You got unemployment. Voila, we'll live. Oh, yeah, you don't understand. I can't go to work. She says, yeah. She says, I understand. You're going to be a pest for 6 weeks, aren't you? I said, well, yeah, maybe. Well, I started doing chores around the house. Next thing you know, I don't know, I'm working on one thing or another, and I'm writing a story, and I'm, oh gosh, working with my records. And uh, actually, I kind of got into the groove, but that was just hanging over me. That, doggone it, I got up in the morning, and I'm not gonna. There's no boilers to work on up here in this town. And the funny thing is, though, people were calling me in to check out their oil burner. I'd check their oil burner out. They'd pay me some money. It was like every time I turned around, I was getting loot. I was actually, in the long run, I was doing better unemployed. When I went back to work, when I went back to work, uh, and gratefully so, the boss says, "Well, we got lots of work. Here you go, South. This is for you." I said, "What's this?" He says, "We didn't quite figure your pay right. You've got here's another $200. And oh, and these came from unemployment for all of you guys. You can look these over. Open it up. Unemployment didn't pay us enough. They owed us like each of us like another $500. Now that was a lot of money back then. That was a month's pay. Look at this. God, I said, I remember Jackson was always kind of the instigator in the group. He says, "Hey, maybe you can lay us off some more." And I remember Charlie, our boss, "Oh, no, you don't. We got 2 boilers we got to fix. You guys get on down there right now. Move." And off we went. Pockets full of loot. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, we were having we just couldn't believe it. Our good fortune. It actually wound up being one of the best paying months of my lifetime. Get right down to it. So I guess sometimes when bad fortune seems to be appearing on your horizon, you might just want to check it out. Just wait and see. Maybe it ain't so bad after all. Sometimes. Sometimes yes, but sometimes no. Anyway, I'll see you later. God bless. And that's an absolutely true story. I we it was just amazing how much doggone money we had, Molly and I, that year as a result. And we did actually we saved some, and I think we went to the Jersey Shore for about 3 or 4 days with the kids, if I recall right. I might be wrong, but I seem to remember that being the case. So it was, all in all, things were pretty good. What was nice too is going to the Jersey Shore. I got a chance to get all that soot off me. Uh huh. Yeah, it was nice. Go in that water there, boy. And next wave or two hits you, pretty soon you're you're squeaky clean. I'll see you later. God bless. Bye now.